On November 26, 2016, a picturesque Saturday that should have been filled with excitement and adventure, two experienced cave divers, Amy Maria Arriaga and her friend Alessandro, embarked on what was meant to be an unforgettable underwater journey. Their destination? The breathtakingly beautiful yet treacherous Sac Actun cave system in Mexico, one of the largest underwater cave systems in the world, spanning over 350 kilometers of submerged passages and caverns. Little did Amy and Alessandro know that, in just a few short hours, their eagerly anticipated dive would transform into a waking nightmare. As they descended into the crystal-clear depths, they had meticulously planned and prepared, but nothing could have braced them for the terrifying scenario that was about to unfold. Venturing into the darkness, separated and lost from each other, Amy would find herself in a harrowing fight for her very life, alone and drowned in the blackness, her air supply rapidly dwindling. Sadly, when the harrowing ordeal finally ended, only one diver, Alessandro, would make it out of Sac Actun's labyrinthine corridors alive. The other, Amy, would tragically become another fatality added to the system's gruesome record of claiming multiple lives over the decades despite its paradisical beauty. This is the shocking but true story of the Sac Actun cave tragedy that no diver could have foreseen or been trained to expect. This is the tragic story of Amy Maria Arriaga and the terrible diving accident that took her life. Amy Maria Arriaga was a free-spirited adventure seeker. From provide Amy's background detail. From a young age, she found herself drawn to the thrill of exploring the great outdoors and pushing her limits. However, it was diving that truly captivated her soul. The minute she experienced being weightless underwater, gliding through an entirely new world, Amy was hooked. She spent countless hours training and obtained every certification, determined to become a master of the depths. One day, Amy called up her close friend Alessandro, an experienced diving instructor with decades in the sport. She had a daring new dive location in mind, the famous Sac Actun cave system in Mexico's Riviera Maya region. Renowned for its stunningly clear waters and breathtaking rock formations sculpted by millennia of underground currents, Sac Actun drew divers from around the globe to explore its sprawling, submerged labyrinths. Though both Amy and Alessandro were highly skilled and had trained together extensively, they knew all too well the inherent risks of cave diving. A single miscalculation could prove catastrophic in the tight confines of an underwater cavern. Yet the lure of discovering uncharted territories and capturing never-before-seen vistas was an obsession they shared, one impossible to resist. As Alessandro agreed to join Amy's ambition dive, she beamed with excitement. Not only would she get to experience Sac Actun's splendor firsthand, but Alessandro would film their journey, allowing Amy to document and immortalize the magic. The two friends spent hours meticulously going over their dive plan, ensuring every contingency was accounted for as they prepared for their underwater journey into the unknown. Even though they knew how dangerous cave diving could be, Amy couldn't resist the chance to see the incredible sights underwater. She asked Alessandro to take pictures and videos of her during the dive so she could capture these special moments, setting the mood for their underwater journey. On the crisp morning of November 26th, Amy and Alessandro went over their meticulously planned dive with a fine-toothed comb. Given the complexity and risks involved in cave diving, every detail was crucial. They decided that Amy, being the more experienced of the two in cave systems, would take the lead role as Diver 1. She would forge ahead through the submerged passages, while Alessandro, acting as Diver 2, maintained a prudent distance behind her, recording their journey with his high-resolution underwater camera. One of their most critical safety rules was establishing a maximum depth limit of 12 meters, or approximately 40 feet below the surface. Anything deeper increased the risk of decompression sickness exponentially. With their dive computers thoroughly checked and their decompression plans reviewed, they felt ready. At precisely 11:26 a.m., the two friends splashed into the Sac Actun cave system's stunning aquamarine water. The complexity of an underwater cave system like Sac Actun cannot be overstated. With over 350 kilometers of mapped passageways weaving through a jagged labyrinth, marking one's trail is paramount. Their strategy was to follow the main guideline already laid, but also utilize a specialized reel to lay new temporary lines that would lead them back out. The reel was spooled with hundreds of meters of thick, highly visible line. Once they had consumed 1/3 of their onboard emergency air reserves, they would turn around and follow those lines back, ensuring they never ran out of air on the return trip. As Amy led the way, cutting through the cave's crystalline waters with powerful fin strokes, Alessandro kept his camera rolling, capturing her graceful, confidence-inspiring movements. The marine life, kaleidoscopic light rays, and alien mineral formations made for visuals more breathtaking than any exotic overwater seascape. But then, in a pivotal, split-second decision that would prove calamitous, Amy made an abrupt left turn, swimming directly into an unmapped side tunnel despite Alessandro urgently signaling her to continue straight ahead per their dive plan. Suddenly, they found themselves enveloped in total blackness, with Amy's primary light doing little more than illuminating eerie shadows in the dense clouds of silt she was kicking up. She began swimming in frantic, haphazard circles, panic setting in as she realized her mistake. Alessandro, now separated from his partner in the inky blackness, anxiously tried signaling with his secondary light, but could see no trace of Amy's silhouette. He assumed she must have already backtracked the way they came and surfaced, blissfully unaware she was lost in a blind maze just meters away. Trying not to wind himself, he began pulling up the secondary reel lines they had laid, thinking she would find her own way out along the main guideline. When Alessandro finally broke the surface at the entrance cove hours later, alone and gasping for air, the bone-chilling realization hit him Amy never made it out. After securing a new tank of emergency air from the dive staging area, he made the agonizing descent back into the abyss, scouring every shadow and crevice, praying he wasn't too late. At last, in the blackest recesses of an offshoot tunnel, Alessandro's light settled on a sight he had been dreading: Amy's limp, lifeless body, her face mask still in place but regulator dangling uselessly as the last precious bubbles of air had long since escaped her tank. Despite his frantic efforts to revive her, it was too late. The cold, harsh reality set in his friend, his fellow diver, his partner on so many adventures, was gone. The heartbreaking story of Amy Maria Araga's final dive serves as a sobering reminder that even for the most experienced and well-trained cave divers, this extreme hobby is never without potentially catastrophic risks. Amy and Alessandro shared an intrepid passion for exploring the unknown underwater realms that most humans never get to witness. But on that fateful November day in the Sac Actun cave system, a combination of poor visibility, extended periods without communication, and a single wrong turn proved deadly. In hindsight, there were perhaps additional safety measures Amy and Alessandro could have employed, such as redundant emergency air supplies, a more robust underwater communication system between buddies, or personal locator devices. Any one of those could have alerted them sooner to the rapidly deteriorating situation and allowed for a swifter rescue. However, even the best-laid plans can be upended by the cruel indifference of nature when diving deep into one of the world's most hazardous environments. This tragedy starkly illustrates that no amount of preparation can completely eliminate risk, a fact every cave diver must soberly accept before venturing into that alien world of rock and water. One miscalculation, one piece of failed equipment, one missed turn can instantly turn adventure into nightmarish peril. While we may never know Amy's final thoughts alone in that black void as her air dwindled, her memory and sacrifice will endure. Her story will be stubbornly retold as a crucial lesson to any who dare follow in her finned footsteps into the depths below. If gripping tales of adventure like this resonate with you, displaying the courage of the human spirit when pushed to the limits, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you found this video interesting, then you should definitely watch my next video.